President Mahama etimi ababecheche mu ewo dollar na sisi ano while losing his strength ama sidi ni mom na ehwere di kan ekọ ewo man mu a obia ebo na baso ewo ho na oka asa in some way na sisi amanyofo ani sentrofo ebisan say na wo hwa sisi a dollar ya aba form ama sidi ya akosre dey sunso aso ene de abre oman na odi tudwa say sa ban bia eba so no betena Ghana benwa iso no bedi oman so no wo kwa oye nkonta e de man new government na ono so oba in power no enti ye sha his excellency the former president na Danko Akufo-Addo eba so na okono oye accounting and asa obu nkonta e de to one member his excellency John Dramani Mahama so he be take over na woni nsem no ka se na eka bi eda ho no ma na ye 150 Ghana Cedis just say 150 billion billion Ghana Cedis 150 billion Ghana Cedis na ye ka president the former president na Danko Akufo-Addo eja to ho ema oman no na free so oba aban mu a se dollar no within 5 months no watimi ene na aban akeka niema esi eni akeka niema bom ama dollar no elusi ni strength ama sidi no ehwedi kan ya se wati free a okono ensuza so a de abasa ekan no so ene se time man aye president Akufo-Addo ewo aban mu no na due to the fact say na dollar no ewo high nti na masika ni tuya no in cedis no na akoye boachi bidin because na sika emu ye dupan ye because that time na $1 crampo enam 18 cedis eko imagine 150 billion Ghana Cedis in dollars not to say enye is a cry and that form na all can say see a dollar na aba for me ama cedi na nya hode na no ade nsunsu papa abre eye car ye de ewo ho na efisesi ano aba form amaye ama sika wo senka ye ntua no osisa e de $dollars mu akoye sika kuma bia we no enhida embo oman ne ka bia ama sisi ano eno ne one of the benefits dollar ya sisi a so ati no benefit ama eye aman Ghana sisi ano bia heli no ewo ho abusua yenkoti ye president ne nsem ne bi emba
sustainability. And Ghana in particular seems to have done very well in restructuring its high levels of public debt. But since you've come into office, what specifically are you doing to return Ghana to a much more acceptable and sustainable debt path?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, it's history. Everybody knows now that Ghana defaulted on its debt. We engaged in a painful debt exchange program to restructure our debts and to bring debt to GDP to a range of about 55 to 58% by 2028. The debt restructuring was concluded early this year with our bilateral creditors, and therefore it brought, one, the quantum of debt down, that's the size, but it also stretched out the repayment of the debt. That brought us down to about 75, 76% debt to GDP. Since then, we're left with just 3% of the debt. We've covered 97%. It's left with the commercial creditors who hold just about 3% of the debt. And once we do that, then it means that the whole debt restructuring has been completed. But like I said when I spoke at first, I said we need to put any credit that we take or any debt that we take into the most productive parts of our economy in providing infrastructure so that you can have a rate of return on debt. You must do smart borrowing, taking debt where you can create debt escrows so that the income for which you invested the credit can go to repay. For instance, I mean, expressways that are tolled where the toll revenues are escrowed so that they go to pay the expressway in 25 years or so. I think that these are the kinds of things that we should do. There are many examples. For instance, we built a first-class port, and that, again, did not sit on our public debt. We made our Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and their partners, Meridian Port Services, build the ports, which cost us about $1 billion, and that port is paying for itself, and that debt does not sit on our books. We built a new airport terminal we call Terminal 3, And again, we built it on the balance sheet of the Ghana Airports Company Limited. And so that project is paying for itself without sitting on our public debt. And so these are some of the innovative ideas that we need to introduce in order that our debts continue to be sustainable. But also, increasingly, one of the push factors for the debt is the strength of the value of the local currency. Our debt continued to multiply because the cedi continued to grow weaker. And so you needed more cedis. Because our public debt is stated in cedis, the weaker the cedi becomes against the foreign currencies, the higher it pushes up your debt. Fortunately, some measures we put in place have recently begun to show results, and the cedi has been strengthening. And so we've reduced our total debt over the last 5 months by almost 150 billion cedis, which is very significant. And so if that trajectory continues, the target of reaching 55 to 58% debt sustainability by 2028 will be reached by the end of this year. And that means that it gives us fiscal space to begin to invest in the most productive sectors of the economy. But like I said, we need to look inward, boost domestic revenue, cut wasteful government expenditure, fight corruption, and introduce better accountability in governance. And that is what the focus of my administration is.
Thank you very much, President Mahama. Very, very well said.
President Mahama, I saw it made to Jawabra or meeting a Cote d'Ivoire to say, besides about a car. Tesa my Ghana ye 150 billion Ghana cedis no na nchem kakra de buy na oka ensem akomienu bi se oman mu na de ba ko a strategies a na se oba ban mu ohu sese de gu akwan mu abema e car anka oman ne de nani na esobeti ene se sika bia na se ye ko bobosia bi efri eye bebia e wo se yetimi e de ye infasudwuma dwuma e de infaso e be ba oman Ghana e de infaso be bre youth a omo oman mu te se infrastructure dwuma se be bie kwan e de ama enkofo a e be nam sa ayo so ama sika aba oman mu e se sika no e ba oman ma no abi no mo yisu e de ye infrastructure business te se be on person mu bie schools obeso mu si airport aseska na bia ana omode tre omahye medu sa level nti we ne entremu a ye mampanyi e de ba ye wabra ye bisa na about e ka twitwidi ye the former president leave the two on my bra obe take over no ombisa nse sa aka no ye ne den na ne entremu ne de na te say top notch ni na ye dollar no se si an dollar no ho asema na obia e ka obia hele no say President Mahama ayade if say 5 months pe 5 months or timi age 4 years so ba be ye adwuma the first 5 months or timi ehwinhwan dollar no so amade bia so hwan any 1 minute bia wona internet so na wo check ya so hwan na 1 minute bia so te na sisia na timi atia aba forma masisia no simple country be any oh my Ghana edi djuma anaso mudi dwadie na omode oh my Ghana ede omoka easy anase akoye mre ama oh my Ghana see betua sesika no fi say dollar no se losing the strength ama cedi no mom ananya hoode anaso mo any country be trader omutu omusika in cedis enti there is no way se cedis na nya hoode no ebekwa akoye say sikani na ebeba be yekese but na ye dollars ni de be yekese sa na ekotua ni cedis a na no so akoye boachi bidin se sia no de dollar na enya hoode na aboa oh my Ghana ye pa no ne one of the benefiter dollar na yatete so a se sia no o manfo bebre na kasa efa ho na one thing so a na na social media no so say se ano dollar na enya ahode no ade ba ko so a eboa no ama o man Ghana se obia ehwoto na nam so me atete niam bebre so ene se o man no ewo honom na se o mu diska bebre so mo spend too much on unnecessary things ene ma bi ono ma we hu na aban akofesika no de aye ene ma bi hu ehu hia sa ehu hyede hia sa na aban akotem ska no de aye sa niam na keka hu bia na se sa niam na kambom Emma dollar no so etimi ekosro ma cedi no etimi etiba for because ekoyesa na say ye bo mine ka ye bo man ne council sana sika wo se ye mfa and build the businesses e wo man mu no ye lusi seska no ni na e ka ho be se sie ya Cedi no aba form no na te se o man no anase president ne na aban o mo so no o mo spend sika ne bebre e no so ka ho bi na esi an Cedi no etimi enya hoden a o man Ghana ye feed no fu ne president Mahama ne nkofo e o mo feed ne sa ma se Cedi no kosoa na eye kese ebusua we ni kakra a Cedi no enhu sensem amede eba besomo me da se ojebre na hwe